Long ago, the elves lived as slaves to humans, and though they've been free for many generations now, they are far from equals. Despite these hardships, Denerim's elves are a strong people who take pride in their close community.
Today, we celebrate our bonds of kin and kind.
Ah, my little girl. It's the last day I'll be able to call you that.
It's your big day. Your groom, he's here early.
You look radiant.
In the name of the Maker who brought us this world, My lord!
Sorry to interrupt, Mother, but I'm having a party. And we're dreadfully short of female guests.
This is a wedding!
And see the pretty bride.
Make her keep us. Make her protect us. The door is locked, and we're unarmed!
Hello, wenches. We're your escorts to Lord Vaughn's little party.
Stay away from us! You killed her!
I'm the last one. She's the scrapper. Oh, sod.
This'll go badly for you.
By dawn, the city will run red with elven blood.
So that was the Dragon Age that I know. It was grim dark. It was immediately pulling you into this universe. And honestly, this is how you actually do social justice themes that feel right. Like, you as the player get to experience racism, sexism, and you get to hate it. And you're like, I am going to do something about it. And you fight your way up to the noble, and then you have a choice. Do you kill him or do you let him live? And if you kill him, it turns out that, if I remember correctly, because it's been a long time since I played this game, but like, his father then sends his men and brutalize the living shit out of the city elves. So it's a bad decision. If you let him live, also bad decision. So like, the moral of the story is that you are in a medieval fantasy and you're a city elf. You're fucked. Like, from the beginning, right? Like, because of your heritage, you're in trouble. And if you actually want to change the world, you got to finish the game. And then because of your status, because you managed to achieve all of that, then you can actually do something about it. And this is only the city elf story. Like, you can play something else. You can play a dwarf. You can be a rich dwarf. And you have, like, this brother that's politically ambitious. And he's killing your father. And then he's outcasting you. And then when you come back, apparently he is struggling for power with another guy. And the fun fact is, like, by siding with your brother, that's actually the correct choice, because your brother is actually a very savvy politician, while the other guy isn't. Or you can be a poor dwarf, and you're in the slums, and you gotta kill people, is what you gotta do. This was a very immersive and dark game. Like, that was the whole purpose of it. It was to get you through a roller coaster of emotions. You get to experience anger, you get to experience frustration, and then you get to experience happiness when you finally get to overcome the challenge. And the characters that you meet, the NPCs, I mean, holy shit, you know, you get to meet Morrigan, and you get to meet Liliana, and many other memorable characters. Now, I want to talk a little bit about Dragon Age 2. Dragon Age 2 is a game that I personally like, but many people hate it because it was rushed. I think it had a lot of potential, but they really wanted to make money, so they got the game out in a year, and it tells. Like, it tells it's not as good as the first one, but it did have, like, some side quests and some themes that I really like. You get to play as this guy, Hawk, and he and his family are trying to find refuge in another city. And towards the late part of the game, your mother is being kidnapped. So you're trying to investigate and see what's happening, and apparently there's a serial killer on the loose, and there's a lot of corpses and dead bodies. And you manage to find that this guy abducted your mother and he's in the sewer. And as you go there, it turns out that this is a necromancer. Now, in Dragon Age 2, necromancy is actually nasty shit. Like, it's not just, you know, like some cool magic with green spells. No. It's like, you know, actually the equivalent of the work of the devil. Like, it's like some really dark stuff. And this sicko was trying to abduct people in order to perform his necromancy experiments. And you find your mother amongst, like, a pile of corpses, and her body is desecrated, and she's being brought to life with necromancy. And now you have, like, this abomination in front of you that's supposed to be your mother, a character that you actually connect with during the game, right? Like, the game actually tries to build a relationship, and the last thing you expect is that your mother is going to be used in a subquest. But again, like, the fact that they did this quest, like, years later, I remember it. Like, it's memorable, you know, it's an awesome game, and it makes you feel, as I mentioned before, like this roller coaster of experiences. It's like, you go from happy, you go to angry, you get to sad, and you experience all of these things, because it's actually solid writing, it's good writing. Now let's look at the trailer for the new Dragon Age. And this is what they do with necromancy in the game. Like, this is necromancy. You got like this guy, like, flicking his wrist in a very queer manner, very Californian manner, like he's making you a soy latte and is asking you for the name that he can put on the spell. And you have, like, this little soy skeleton, very, very soyish, just giving a hug to what appears to be, like, two intruders that went into this racially diverse relationship. They're here, and he does, like, the flick of the wrist. The flick of the wrist, it's like the soy skeleton appears, and that's it. And you know, like, they wonder why I dislike wokeness. Like, what is wokeness? It's like the question. Wokeness is the culture that makes it impossible for right-wingers to work in an industry. And right-wingers is anyone that criticizes this. Like, anyone that doesn't like this, anyone that has, like, any type of criticism, whether it's legit or not, is not a woke person. They're probably outright. And it makes it next to impossible for anyone that doesn't support this to work in the industry. Wokeness is all about intent. The intent is not to create an interesting and rich story and a roller coaster of emotions. The intent is to allow the writer to spew their frustrations, to spew their trauma, to spew everything that they have onto the person that is unfortunate enough to have spent $69 on the game. I'm not even going to bring the setting, because you probably all know it, where the characters are sitting around the table and they're discussing misgendering, and you have, like, the character finding out that they're trans. Like, how is this creating the same roller coaster of emotion that we talked about in Dragon Age 1, right? It doesn't. It's all about queer representation. Like, this is why the necromancer behaves this way. Like, they're not trying to create necromancy as something that's actually dark, like something that's sinister, something that is dangerous, and trying to ask the question, it's like, okay, if mages exist, how do we deal with it? No, instead, it's all about, like, trying to emulate what these writers have seen that it's cool. And it's like, Marvel movies are cool, right? Well, if Marvel movies are cool and Guardians of the Galaxy is cool with their zany characters, like, look how zany these characters are. Look how zany our characters are, right? It's like, this is why people dislike it. Now, it's still early to tell whether or not this game is going to be successful. But let's assume it's Game of the Year level. Let's assume it's successful. You know what? Tumblr was successful. Like, Tumblr actually had a lot of people there, and that didn't stop me from making fun of it, its culture, and the people that went on Tumblr. I will definitely do the same when it comes to this game. This game, in my opinion, is piggybacking on an IP that was actually amazing. Like, if you don't believe me, you can install Dragon Age 1, play it today, and you will experience the exact same level of emotion that I did when I played it, despite the fact that the graphics are poorer, despite the fact that the gameplay lacks certain quality of life that you would expect from a modern game. You will guarantee to enjoy that experience. And then when you compare it with the new Dragon Age that came out, you'll just realize what a huge pile of dump is. And again, the very fact that it has the name Dragon Age is what really bothers me, because it does not live up to even half of the original. Let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.